and welcome to Footy Talk. We're here at Before the Bounce with our special guest tonight, Steve Bomber Hamilton, brought to you by the Prince Albert Gawler. It's a fantastic little spot there, and Bomber, thanks for joining us, mate.
No problem.
Bomber, footy at the moment, obviously been heavily involved and study footy from AFL, SNFL even, but the AFL at the moment, do you like the new rules and interpretations that they're bringing in?
Some of them I do, some of them I don't. I don't like them changing it too much. We're probably all in the same boat there.
Yep.
I remember Michael Noonan said 25 years ago that the thing about soccer was they never changed the rules in 100 years. We change it every year. And actually, I've seen a show that he was at the other day at North Adelaide Footy Club, and he said exactly the same thing again. So I'll probably be on that boat. Don't change it too much.
And North Adelaide, good win.
Positive too?
It's just a tough season for them, isn't it? I mean, after winning a magnificent grand final, by the way, what a premiership and a great game. To really struggle this year, but finally they get a couple of points.
Yeah, well, they lost like 4 or 5 really good young players.
Makes it hard, doesn't it?
Any team.
Yeah.
They probably weren't expected to win that grand final at the start of the season either, so it's a very good effort.
Yeah, it was a great effort.
So grand final day, Bomber, what were you at the ground? You would have been.
I was at the
cheering
ground.
out.
There's a heap of us old 91 premiership team went down and watched it. I ended up going back to the club, but I didn't last too long. I had a fairly big weekend prior to that.
Because you went to Westies for a while as well.
Yep.
And they're struggling a bit as well this year, aren't they? So you haven't got too much in the SNFL to really, spark your interest up. But you took plenty last year, so
exactly.
It sort of evened out for you.
I love both clubs. West Adelaide, I'm actually from the Riverland, so West Adelaide's our area up there.
Too. Yeah, well, how'd you get to North? Just
old man played for the Bays. He was a Hall of Famer for
Glenelg. Of course he was. Yeah, of course, yeah.
He come from the Riverland, but then went to Glenelg, so that doesn't make sense either.
No.
Then went to Port Pirie to coach, so that's where I was living in Port Pirie at the time, so that was North Adelaide's area.
And of course there are other 2 teams not too good on the weekend either, actually. So we've got the Crows struggling a little bit, and also Port. I mean, you look at two teams that are just under the spotlight in this state. It's just magnifies stuff at the moment.
Yep.
You sort of have to feel a bit for the players. I mean, I know they go out, they give 110%, and you know that, all the time. But it's always questionable, isn't it?
Well, they show a bit, and then they don't show a bit. So it's a bit frustrating. I can imagine all the supporters out there wouldn't be real happy with either team.
No.
Bomber, and yourself at the moment, mate, obviously, are you still involved in footy?
Watching it, it's probably the main thing I do. I actually went for the board of the North Adelaide Footy Club last year, didn't manage to get on. So I might look at doing that again at some stage, but more of a spectator these days.
And
a lot of time. I was going to say, there's a lot of time on the board. I mean, enjoying a beer and a little pint of pasty at the footy, watching the old teams play to get on the board. That's a big commitment.
They did warn me, so they warned me how much time was involved.
And you're still ready to put your hand up. Fantastic. That's great. Yeah. And what areas of the board would you like to look at? I mean, that's is it more marketing?
I've got an online marketing agency, so I thought that was one of the skills.
Probably that's the one, isn't it? Really, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the one.
Plus, I played in the premiership at the club, so got the footy side of it and the marketing side of it.
Yeah, I think you might get it.
Bomb, you could tell us plenty of stories. I've heard plenty of them over my time as well. But what's one that probably really stands out to you from your days at North Adelaide?
Geez, North Adelaide. You put me on the spot. They should have asked me that question before I came on. I would have known what to say. It was probably after we won that premiership. There was probably a group of 12 of us who were the younger group.
Yeah.
We were on the beers for 38 days. We won the flag. We were having a bit of fun for about 2 weeks. Then we had our footy trip, which was 2 weeks.
And
then a group has come back. We weren't working at the time, which helped. So. We had a bit of fun for 38 days straight.
No work. What's going on?
How could you afford it?
The club were looking after us, and match payments had come through by that stage.
So were you studying at the time, or
I personally wasn't. Some of the other guys were.
So you thought, bugger, I'm just going to have 38 days and just hit it hard.
Well, we couldn't go that hard after 14 or 15 days, but got up, nothing else to do, and got a phone call from one of the boys. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yep, all right.
Bang, every day, there it was.
The funny thing is, nothing's really changed. Nothing's really changed, has it, Bomber?
No, I haven't won a premiership.
Obviously, he drinks with the best of them. But, mate, what's the next for North Adelaide now going forward? What's probably the next step that they got to look at this year? Essentially, is going to be a write-off, you would say. But they've been able to blood some more kids through there, and You reckon they can get themselves back to the top next year to have a good crack?
Well, I think all clubs in the SANFL need to become feeder clubs. I look at I'll use soccer as an example. They've got soccer clubs where they'll bring the juniors through, sell them on for big money. Obviously, that doesn't happen with footy, but that's the way would be doing it, trying to bring those juniors through, replace the 4 or 5 you lose to AFL. Understand that's going to happen, but try and bring some juniors through to fill up those spaces, and then again, you're going to know they're going to move on, but just use that model.
What about the toughness in when you look at sides like Port and Crows and any team that loses? They just seem to pick on speed.
Yep.
I mean, is that where the game is nowadays? That it's just a fast running game, and you haven't got speed. 1 week they've won, no one mentions it.
Yep.
Next week they lose, and all of a sudden the media is just coming down on to particular players that all of a sudden they're slow.
Yep.
I mean, the inconsistency, what you hear from the media, I reckon be ruthless playing in today's that social media aspect of it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one minute everything's fine, next minute they're tagging as a slow player. Do you think both sides have Adelaide sides have got players that are a bit slow?
Yeah, I'd think so. I mean, it's the same as when we played.
Yeah.
You got blokes who've got to get it. You've got to give it out to blokes who are quick and can move it forward quickly. I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah, but the blokes that are going to get it generally aren't the ones that are super speed.
Yeah,
And so you'd say you're looking at Keith, who I think is all Australian. And I've read in the paper that someone sort of thinks he's a bit slow. I mean, like, hang on, for the last 17 rounds, he's all Australian. He plays one game that that Essendon ran right in that second half when it was like they changed Guernseys at half time, and all of a sudden you're tagged as slow.
It's fast with your feet and it's fast with your head.
Yeah.
So personally, I'd rather have a fast head, get the ball, deliver it to the right person in the right space.
He reads it beautifully, doesn't he?
Yeah. So in my opinion, that's just as important.
So true.
And you did plenty of that yourself.
Oh
over
yeah,
your career, Bomber.
hard at it.
And we are going to talk a lot more about that. So stick with us. But that was Footy Talk with Bomber Hamilton. Welcome to the Stock Report here at Before the Bounce, brought to you by the best in the business, Taylor Collison's,
David Pittman. Yeah.
Your mate.
Good teammate.
Very good footballer in his own, right as well.
I think he's done it pretty well, Pitto.
Used to go all right. So, no, get best in the business, so make sure you get down and see them and for all your stockbroking needs. But let's get straight into it, Ando.
You're going to hit me hard, I think. I've looked at these reports here, these stock reports, and they're pretty tough ones.
There's a few beauties, and we'll start. It's good to see North Melbourne get in here every week. But Reece Shaw, he's doing a fantastic job at North. The last 2 weeks, he's probably stiff not to have another 2 wins.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I thought, sort of three-quarter time, I thought North have got the game, and Brisbane just sort of run over the top of them. And, Brisbane seem to be doing that, to numerous teams this year. I mean, they're a top 4 side. North Melbourne trying to find their way. They played, really well again, last weekend, and right at the pointy end of that game, they nearly had it. And I think they got a couple. Brisbane got a couple of late goals to play out the game by just over 10 points.
Well, they got that free kick inside 50.
Yeah,
the scores were level. But it wasn't too happy. The lucky remote didn't
really
go
like
through the
him.
TV.
But I have heard a rumour that Ross Lyons might be going to North Melbourne.
No way.
No way?
No, if that happens...
Too negative for you? You reckon...
well, we've just gone from a negative coach to get another negative coach in. I don't like it. So
well, I sort of throw that in. That was only a Greg Anderson rumour. That was just to, But anyway, I think he's doing a wonderful job. He was a great player. He's done his time as an assistant, and I really think how he's handled the side the last 3 or 4 weeks now. There's
probably going on 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, well, there's no reason why he can't, hold the job, and the players seem to be getting around him. That's for sure.
And I think that's what North needed, was that youthful energy. I know one name that I've always said on the show is Sam Mitchell, but Reece Shaw, I'm starting to. He's buying me over. He's winning me over.
Well, you're the one. You're a supporter. You watch it. I mean, I'm seeing the scores and seeing a little bit of the highlights. Yeah. You're watching the game because you love the Kangaroos. So when you see this energy, it's coming from the coach, and he's putting it through to his coaches, and then the players are lifting for him, and that's what the key is.
Correct, and that's
no question.
There's players that probably the supporters and that had put lines through that. Since he's come on board, they're now playing the best footy they ever have. Right. So you can't tell me, and that's not a game plan thing. That is just maybe a bit of belief and confidence, and that's got to come from the top. from the top.
It is. I mean, we spoke about social media, and you look at a situation where a side wins comfortably one week, then the next week the side loses, and they tag slow, too old, get rid of them. How does that happen?
Yeah.
How do we start believing this bullshit?
Yeah, correct.
And that's unfortunately what weighs a lot of the players down. So they need such a positive coach to say, hey, I don't think of you at all that way. And I think that might be the message that Reece is putting into his players, because they are running well and they're playing with some spirit.
Nah, he's been fantastic. So I'm buying him.
Yeah.
I reckon give him
no
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, give him a couple of
2 or 3 years and see how he goes. And
he was a tough nut as a player too.
Oh, he was a fantastic player as well.
tough.
So I'm buying him. Give him the job, Ando. You're going to.
I'm backing you, mate. Very rarely, but I'm going to back you on that one.
No, I love it, mate.
Put the money up, and I'll support you.
And the Greg Anderson rumour mill of Ross Lyon is.
He's on
his
there.
Coaching style, is Ross Lyon finished as a coach?
It's interesting. I mean, look, they beat Sydney Swans, and you basically you got 2 coaches playing the same style.
Yeah.
So it's one of those teams are going to win by less than a goal because they play that sort of style of footy. I reckon maybe sides have worked it out. Just on the rebound now, they're just so much quicker, and I think they're always saying that was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Both sides, are really struggling with that sort of team play. There's no question. I mean, they got smashed the other week, Freo, absolutely smashed by West Coast. That was West Coast, wasn't it? Was it
the Derby? They got hammered.
They got hammered. They got hammered. Sydney been struggling most of the year, and they got a team of champions in their list. Like, this is ridiculous that he's sitting, probably 10th or 11th, probably further down. He has got a great team.
Correct.
So I sort of feel that maybe that style has finished, and I would sell it.
Yeah,
I would sell it. I think it's had its day. I think coaches are clever, and I think that the group know how to work around it now. And that was always going to happen, I think.
No, I'm 100% with you. I'm selling. I don't rate the negative style of play at all.
What about the Bombers the second half? I mean, the Crows played like in the first half. It was just so great to watch.
Yeah.
In the second half, the Bombers just get their free-flowing game going. It was a tug of war with the scoreboard. It was like they swapped Guernseys at half-time. But as a spectator, it was a fantastic game to watch.
Oh, it was
fast. It was, the skills are great. It was, probably for Ross Lyon's point of view, might have been a bit too open. But geez, as a spectator, hey, I like it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game to watch, and I'd much rather start watching more. I'd rather see more of that footy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the Bombers were impressive on Friday night, but Chris Fagan,
where's he come from?
And Brisbane. I think Brisbane as a whole, they won. They won 5 games in 2017, 5 games in 2018.
I have asked for some tape from the pre-season when we started doing before the bounce, and I actually think that I said the team to watch was Brisbane. I've asked Rocky Butterworth, the producer, to get that bit of footage, because at 3/4 time, they were pretty much, in so many of the games, were in front. They just got run over, got run over late because they were a very young side.
Yeah, correct.
And all of a sudden, they've just got a little more depth. Some of those players have got another year under their belt, and they're very impressive.
Oh, they've been fantastic to be now. I think to go from 5 and 5, you'd expect a progression, and probably reckon they would have hoped they would finish 8th or in the 8, and I thought they'd probably squeeze in if they're improving.
Yeah, and I don't think you did that. I think you bagged me that night, actually. But
well,
that's okay.
probably.
That's all right,
But they to finish in the top 4 is
fantastic.
Yeah. They're smashing it. So
they were mature. Some of those younger players they've had at the club for a long time. They sort of showed a few little glimpses last year, but they're playing 4 quarters now, and that's the difference.
Oh, that's it. But you look at how they're bringing in the older players along. Mitch Robinson's probably, I think I read something today, he's in almost career best form.
Yeah.
So they've been fantastic, Brisbane, and
because a lot of the young
chance.
players are showing the spark.
Yeah,
I remember
correct.
Kevin Sheedy always saying that the young players are there to give a spark for the older ones, and they give the stability. And that's going to be a good team.
No,
and that's where Brisbane is at the moment.
Yeah, they're going to be great to watch.
Fagan, fantastic.
Yep.
Just a big tick in my book.
Yep.
And we're buying him.
He's done
your money, we're buying him.
He's done a great job.
He spent a bit of money tonight.
Just a bit. But Ando, another great stock report brought to you by
Bito's
Taylor
happy with
Colson.
that. He'll be happy.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
And welcome to Before the Bounce. This segment's brought to you by the Exchange Hotel in Gawler. Joining us is the Executive Director of the Breakthrough Mental Health Foundation, John Mannion. John, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks very much, mate.
what a big subject, isn't it? It's just a huge subject, and I think we've all been affected by it. Probably a lot like me, probably don't understand it, but it's just in the community. It's so strong in our community at the moment.
Yeah.
You would have seen the changes over the 30-odd years that you've been working in this field.
You're right. I think you're right on the point where you say it's got a big impact. Statistics show us 1 in 5 people have got a diagnosis of a mental health issue at the moment. That's those who've actually been and sought help. It's probably closer to 1 in 3 people because we still don't open up and talk about it. And we also know that throughout our life, then 45% of us will experience a mental health challenge. So that's a big
32
challenge.
years ago when you started, I mean, those statistics wouldn't have been anything like that. I mean, I was at a really powerful footy club, and I think there was 5 or 6 suicides over probably over the last sort of 7 to 10 years, I would say. I look back at these particular players, and they were great players, strong as a bull. How does that work?
Yeah, because I think when you're channeling everything into something you're really, really good at, you can escape into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a great way to which we get away. We can actually fake things. We're able to channel our energy into something, but it might actually be masking everything else. So when we go away from that footy field, do we still have the same adulation? Do we still feel part of a sense of belonging, of part of a team, or are we actually on our own and we're quite isolated?
That's a great point.
So that sort of challenge is really sort of complex. We see that in everyday society now. It's easy for us to go in to do things that we enjoy to do, but then when our illness takes over, that's the first signs we see when someone's deteriorating, because that's what they stop.
And society has changed that much.
Yeah. Well, we're
just the pressures.
Everything we do is in the window, isn't it? Everything's all on social media. If you think about it from a sporting arena, if somebody does something wrong in Adelaide Oval, then 45,000 people will tell them they've done it wrong.
Yeah.
I sent an email out when I came out tonight. No one told me if I did it right or wrong. There wasn't 45,000 people looking at it. So my work's not under a microscope, but in the sporting arena,
I've seen a little bit of Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook user, and some of the hits on some of the really big name players that play for either the Crows or the Power, and they've had a bad game. It's just cruel. It's just cruel. And I suppose you're right. Society's changed where I might have had 1 or 2 Lions son, I didn't have a good game, or whatever the case may be, and kicked out in the full too many times. And it's done and dusted. But nowadays you can wake up, get on the phone, and all of a sudden you're getting smacked, and personally.
Yeah, and personally, and this is why obviously a lot of the clubs do programs where they actually build in, how do you manage social media, how do you manage the pressure, how do you manage that transition. I think that's really important. They're the same sort of things we're teaching in schools now.
How do you
manage the social media in your school? How do you manage all your different social platforms? And obviously social media has a really positive impact for us, but there are other challenges within that. It's effectively changing the way in which we communicate with each other. It's much faster and easier to do a text than it is to actually connect with somebody.
And bully as well, without facing the eyeballs.
It's easier than ever, and as someone that's always told to get off their phone because I'm on it too much, you see it all the time. Obviously got to know quite a few people that play at the elite level, and when you talk to them, and one in particular, we posed the question, just in all seriousness, how much hate mail would you get? It wasn't just 5, 10, we're talking 500,000
so easy to
messages
send
across the board. It's so easy to do now. You see players now starting to try and call people out on it. The Dane Beans one's a big one. He started to publicly shame those people. All it did probably was then put a bigger target on his head, as bad as that sounds. But people then started, it was easy for the other people to start joining in and going after. How do you guys as Breakthrough handle or try and deal with the social media side of it?
Yeah, I mean, as you said before, social media has a role. Has a really, really strong role. It's a great way in which you can actually sell strong messages, how you can communicate effectively. But it also has that negative impact, doesn't it? So we've been doing a piece of work with Professor Phillips Lee that's looking at a program called the Peace Pack, and it's a school bullying program. And one of the modules in there is about how do you actually manage the social media conversation? How do you manage the trolling that takes place? How do you manage the negative conversations, trying to change those behaviours. The programme itself, when it was rolled out in its first trial school, reduced bullying incidents by 50%, which is massive. If you think about bullying and the negative impact on bullying on mental health, then that then has that impact on our anxiety levels, our depression levels, our sense of belonging, sense of feeling, self-esteem. So looking at ways in which we can teach children how to use social media effectively, that's a great way in which you can change that and change the outcome.
What about society now? How much do you think we've accepted to say, you know what, I've got an issue?
Yeah, I think that has changed dramatically. You know, organisations like Are You OK have done an enormous job about normalising the mental health conversation. Over in the UK, there's a great programme called It's OK Not to Be OK.
Yeah.
And that is true. You know,
But it's great about having a
perfect.
program, but it's about I'm comfortable enough to put my hand up, and we're talking children. I mean, I've just thought, wow, when you said, you know, schools. I mean, that's they're most vulnerable, and we hear so many tragic circumstances, with some of the young children.
Yeah, we're seeing presentations of children with anxiety and depression at the age of 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I was still working out, how I could sit on my chair or spin round or what have you, and not fall over and stuff. Not thinking about how my mental health was. So I think that the way in which we're now normalising it and actually having those conversations, and actually making it safe for people to put their hand up.
Yeah.
It's
and
about
feel confident.
And feel confident to do it. If
Yeah.
I do this, someone's actually going to listen to me, and that rolls out into sort of all areas, especially the work we're trying to do now with the Samford League, which is about how do you have that conversation in your sporting club, where you have 2 champions that I can actually go to and know that I'll have a safe conversation, know that they'll be able to listen to me and they've got the skills to listen to me, and then they'll signpost me into the right place. Because part of about when we start to disclose how we're feeling, it's to do it in a way in which we feel safe and that we can feel trusted, and then it won't ever come back on us. And that's so.
Because we haven't been a society, that will do that.
No. Well, actually, we've got a society where it's everyone wins at all costs. You know, we've seen football in sporting communities trying to win any sporting event at all costs. That's never actually succeeded, has it?
No.
When you then start to look at the culture about working together as a team, working together as a unit, achieving things as a collective, that's when you see those better outcomes for people. And that's the same thing with our mental health.
Yeah, and as a 24-year-old now, as of last weekend, it's I probably lived through those teen stages when phones were first introduced, and social media was first introduced. I think I was 12 when I first had a Facebook account, when it pretty early in its days. So I've probably seen it all firsthand. Probably ashamed to say that, bullying and that I've probably been a part of. Put the hand up, probably didn't quite understand the effects it would have, that sort of thing. You obviously learn that as you grow, and had it reciprocated the other way as well. It's tough out there. It's certainly not easy as a young person in today's system and with social media.
Well, I think if you're looking at the social media context, people are wanting responses, and they're wanting them rapidly, and they're not just wanting it through one conversation. So they'll be on a Facebook platform, they'll be on an Instagram platform. They'll have 5 or 6 platforms all open at once, all answering different questions, all having an impact on each of those questions. So that in itself is complex, isn't it? How do we bring that back into a way in which we empower our children to manage those conversations, manage them in a safe way? And then how do we build that up? So it has a great role, social media. We should never sort of diss it, but it has to be managed in an effective way for people.
What about pressures in life? I mean, social media is one thing, but you're right. It's we need it, and and that'll it works itself out. And but pressures in life as well, because I mean, obviously, we hear some horrible stories about probably old school that that probably aren't probably really attuned to social media, but life's really affecting them as well. And the society. So.
I mean, that in itself is complex. That's why mental health is very, very complex.
That's right,
because there's psychological, there's social, there's financial, there's relationships.
There's a lot to it,
all the different pieces. Best way to describe it is that when you're looking at mental health and well-being, it's really a jigsaw. It's a very complex jigsaw, but if we actually look for the corner and start in one piece, and we can build on from there, like every good jigsaw.
It's hard to help people, and that's probably the for someone who's stepping back now and someone who wants help. Well, I'd say please go and go on and speak to the experts.
But if someone comes to you, listen. That's a simple thing you can do. Listen to the first point, then you can do the signposting. If someone's been brave enough to ask you for some help, just listen to them. It's very, very powerful. You don't have to have the answer.
You've seen it grow. Do you think it's still going to keep growing?
I think we're at a point where we've really got to change the way in which we're doing our interventions to actually have a positive impact.
Yeah.
One of the challenges we've got is getting the right evidence and the right research to do that. There's only 14% of our interventions have actually got evidence.
Yeah.
We still carry on doing the rest. So we really need to get the right research, the right targeted approach, and that'll make the biggest impacts for us.
John, we thank you very much.
Yeah,
Again,
thank you for
the
that.
time has run out again. We know this is the third time we've spoken to you now. It's absolutely fantastic. As I said, we could
Doing a great job.
pull
Thank
up
you.
pull up a seat and talk about it all day. And it's fantastic what Breakthrough are doing. I'm sure over the years we're only going to talk to you more and more. What you're doing with community footy on a couple of weeks ago up in Port Pirie with the SANFL, I was there up there with you, and it was fantastic, and the response that you got. So we'll put the link in the video as well. We're gonna on Facebook. We're going to tag you.
Must.
We'll tag you in the post as well. So for anyone out there that is looking to seek help, get in contact with Breakthrough. And John, we thank you for your contribution.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for inviting us back.
No worries. And stay tuned at Before the Bounce. We're going to have plenty more, and that was brought to you by the Exchange Hotel in Gawler. To AFL SANFL Footy Talk here at Before the Bounce, brought to you by Peter Page Holden, Luke Page and the crew out there, and
He looks
they're
after us,
fantastic.
doesn't he?
They've been fantastic. So
He's a nice guy.
no, we've got to get ourselves a couple of new cars on
Do you reckon?
on the Piranha Media card, I reckon, down there from Lukey Page and the team, if Rocky lets us.
If we get our stock report right, we might be okay. Anyway.
Well, that's right, if we get those tips done. But we want to really touch on the SANFL.
I'm glad you said that, actually. Yeah.
Weekend of upsets, wasn't it?
But it's been a great season.
Yeah.
It's been a fantastic season. I mean, look at North Adelaide. I mean, I know they're right down the bottom, but they played 2 to 3 good quarters most weeks.
Yeah.
They just can't bring out the chocolates. And wow, what a fantastic win by. They knocked off the Crows, who were top.
They knocked off the Crows.
So that's where the competition is at the moment.
Oh.
And we look at Glenelg. Glenelg, I think they lost that young Hosey over to that mid-season draft.
Over to North.
To North, and they're still going as strong as I thought. They was really going to kick him in the guts.
Yep.
But they went down to Alberton and they showed them who should be on top of the table.
Yeah.
And just fantastic. It's just been a really good year. Yeah.
No, it's been fantastic. I've actually got out to watch a bit of SANFL footy this year, trying to look at some potential recruits for my own club and whatnot. It's been fantastic to see the level of footy, but also being involved as a Central District supporter. It's good to see the boys get a win.
Yeah, I could see. Well, we saw the photo in the advertiser of how happy they were, and it was I think a long time coming, obviously, and they've had a couple of pretty stiff losses. I saw them at Alberton. Probably a month or so ago, and they were a very good side, but they just come up against a cracking Port Adelaide outfit, and they just fell away in the last quarter. It was a really good game. So you could see the excitement, and I think that'll really step in the right direction because it'll give them a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
But not very often you see the doggies over the last decade or more being down towards that bottom end of the ladder.
No.
And I think that's where the SANFL is at the moment. I mean, I know that we all talk about the AFL and it's probably a step, even a step back now in the SANFL, but for a spectator's point of view or a supporter's point of view, it is a great season. I mean, you look at North and South, going to battle, and they're both fighting for, for 4th, 5th and 6th spot. Big crowd, and it's just a great game, So you go there and it's like, I just love footy. Get a beer, get a pie, your mates around you, stand on the hill, and you just give it. It's fantastic.
It's been fantastic, and there's been some great crowds at the SANFL this year, due to some of those stars coming in and playing for the Crows and Port and that. But across the board, there's been fantastic crowds. But obviously, with Roy Laird finishing up his legacy at Central Districts at the end of the year, fantastic for the boys.
Big shoes to fill those ones.
Yeah,
They've been fantastic. Wow. I was coaching against him, and I felt like I coached South Adelaide like another lifetime ago. And he's still going. He won so many premierships, and he was it's a fantastic fella.
7-time league
fantastic
coach,
fella,
so.
and a really nice guy as well. So, hopefully they can run home nicely. And
they got West Adelaide this week, and then on to their gala night.
I don't want them to do too well, by the way. All right.
I needed to.
Oh, okay.
So they got gala night, so that should be a big night. So I'll be heading down for a few Skewies down there, Ando, as well, but it'll be good.
Well, it's funny because my cousin was the head cheer squad leader for many, many years, and he's older than me, so we're probably talking this through the 70s and 80s and 90s. Not a lot of success in that period of it. It just went bang for you blokes, didn't it? It was incredible that, not just one or two, but no, we'll just go bang and we'll play in sort of 10 grand finals and we'll win several of them. So, all of a sudden you really certainly got your money's worth.
Well, it was probably fantastic moving over from Melbourne and I think the end of 05 and moving out to Gawler, and that was the local team and probably didn't know too much about it, and then it was just watching Premiership after Premiership. Was like, how good
it
this?
just took the SANFL by storm.
Yeah.
It really did. It was great for one the area, because they had struggled since the 60s. There's no, and if they made the finals, they made the elimination final, and they'd get knocked out. They made the 2 grand finals, of course, in the the mid 90s, and lost both of those, and one that was probably. You never thought for them they were going to lose that particular game or that premiership, and then they finally get some success, and it was great for the area. But enough's enough, mate. Enough's enough. we want the Magpies back up at the top, but I think the Bays are going to be the ones, that's for sure.
Well, the big thing is with these AFL teams, isn't it? It just depends on injuries at AFL level. We've seen how dominant they are.
Or you get rid of your coach, put a new caretaker coach in, and then you win.
Well,
so what about that? 3 clubs.
Well, I did see in a chat that I'm with this year, with some mates, they did say, I wonder if after a prelim final win, one of the coaches is going to get sacked for the grand final. So
you have to think about it, don't you? For your club to get a premiership.
The way it's going.
3 clubs this year. I mean, one, I can't believe that that high percentage during the year, of one competition sack their coaches. It's where's it sit for the supporters? Where's it sit for the players? And it's okay. They've got wins, so that worked out okay to date.
Yeah.
But to be able to do that during the year, I still find that a really hard pill to swallow. I just sort of don't understand. You get in there, you have the year, and then you work out sort of the end of the year. So
it's a very interesting one, Ando.
But it's more than just that, because what's Vossi thinking? Now Vossi's thinking, is there a job for me? Hey, his job is to look after a half a dozen players at Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
He can't give 110%.
Well, Koshy come out.
And they're saying that now.
Koshy come out and had a crack.
If you want to go and put your hand up for a coach, you have to leave now.
Yeah.
Because we need someone who's just purely focused. Now, you times that by quite a number of assistant coaches that are saying, there's 3 clubs that's going to be ready. I'm going to put my hand up for the next year. Well, hang on. That's not right. I don't think the AFL should allow that to happen, because it takes the off the ball for many assistant coaches who have got a very important roles at the moment.
Yeah.
So
correct.
it could be on our stock report next week, that one.
I agree. No, they've got a lot of work to do there, but we just want to touch on quickly the Port and the Crows there. Both didn't have the greatest of weekends.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Crows come off an unbelievable win against the Suns, something they really needed. All played well, no question. And look, the first half they played so well.
Fantastic. I thought they were going to run away with it.
Yeah. But I just think when they needed the big mark in the forward line, it wasn't there. When the Essendon needed the big mark, it was there. Stringer, Brown, they took marks, kicked goals in really critical times. And that's the old, what we relied on, the old full forwards that we relied on. We get it down to Timmy Evans, bang, you knew that he was, he had a chance to, and the Crows just didn't have that. Yeah. I mean, Josh Jenkins got a free kick in the goal square for one of his goals. The other one was a 50-metre free kick. Penalty. So still, there wasn't a big mark taken, basically for that second half in the mouth of in the goal square.
Yeah. No, it was a tough weekend for both SA teams, but they've got to keep winning now to make sure they cement their place in finals. But good to see.
Keep winning. They have to win. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
They've got 5 games to get their act together. Yeah.
No, that's it, Ando. Good to see from the mid-season draft as well. From West Adelaide, Will Snelling make his debut.
That was fantastic.
For Essendon.
Great win, and back in the change room, it was a fantastic moment for sing the club song, and his parents obviously downstairs as well. So, it was great for the family.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
the Bombers do it well, mate.
Oh well, from all my reports is that he was flying in the VFL as well. So fantastic, mate. And as AFL, SNFL talk brought to you.
On the Couch with Ando, and it's brought to you by Rachel Laurie, Ray White's North Adelaide. So if you're thinking about selling, give Rachel a call. Fantastic supporter of SA Sports here in South Australia, that's for sure. Stephen Bomber Hamilton, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, all the way from Riverland as a young kid, first of all, was it for football or was it more just for lifestyle?
Well, I popped out in Loxton, that's where my mum had me.
Yeah,
But,
just popped out, yeah.
But yeah, the old man was playing for the Bays at the time, so he moved from Loxton to Glenelg.
Yep.
And then I moved with him, so I was only about 2, I reckon, at that
Okay,
stage.
yeah.
Then he moved to Port Pirie, where he was a coach there, so I grew up from 5 to 15 at Port Pirie and then went to North Adelaide.
Your dad a champion at Glenelg.
Yes, I've been told that many a time by many people.
Premiership.
Yes.
You snuck a premiership in 91 with North Adelaide.
Correct.
There wouldn't be too many father-sons of two different clubs winning premierships.
Yeah, well, it's my understanding we're the only one. So apparently,
Is that right?
Well, apparently there's something on one of KG's shows back in the day.
Yeah.
That was the question. Someone rung up, got the answer right, and I was told that was the question and the answer. So
Isn't that amazing?
I don't know if that's factual. Jump on Google if you want to check.
The only one I'm thinking of, was Peter Motley, of course, played at Sturton a grand final, but they lost against Westies in '83, and of course Jeff won 6, I think,
We
at
both
Port
won,
Adelaide.
though.
But you both, yeah, that's it. I'm just sort of trying to work out some fathers and sons. So you've done well.
That's
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Tell the grandkids if I ever have one.
So you started at North, though. How'd you get to North Adelaide?
Well, as I
Because
said,
I thought you would have gone to Glenelg. I mean,
Yes.
that would be just the pathway.
it's funny. I signed up with North Adelaide the night before Glenelg rung me. So apparently some of Dad's mates rung up and said, "Hey, you better get on to Bombers, lad. He's about to sign for North Adelaide." So.
Did you follow Sturt as a kid, so Glenelg
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
kid?
Yeah, I was out the backyard
Just
saying all
watching,
the Glenelg
yeah.
players and kicking the ball around. Absolutely. So, yeah, they rung up, but I'd already signed. And
Yeah.
as I said, Dad went to Pirie to coach.
Yeah.
North Adelaide's that area, so that's how that came about.
So were you in the area for North Adelaide at that time, like schooling and things like that? Because you signed up obviously at 15, 16.
Yep.
So that was your area.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, wow. And then off to the big smoke. I think you got drafted 74, number 74 or something like that
Yeah,
in
I think
1988.
Yep.
And over on the same draft as Wayne Carey.
No, he went a year before me.
He went a year before you.
Yes.
But from, of course, North Adelaide as well.
Yeah, correct. We played 17 premiership together.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, it was. We had a
So-
few league players come out of that. Adrian McAdam played in that as well.
Yep.
Shane Tongery. Oh, geez, I'm not going to forget some here now.
Benny Hart, was he around your
No,
sort of age?
he's
a bit older
a bit
than
younger.
He's a bit younger.
than
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's probably about 10 players out
Yeah.
of that team who ended up playing SANFL, and I think there was not only 5 that played AFL.
So how was it? Going North Adelaide and then going to what we call the big smoke, and
Yep.
and it wasn't like today's football. You sort of knew what the process was, but. In that era, you basically didn't even get much VFL on TV in those days. So you're really going to uncharted waters, really. Big step.
Yeah, well, we came down, a friend of mine, Andrew Tully, still my best mate now.
Yeah.
We came down, I think it was 85, I think it was. So we come down to do school. We were going to go to Ross Trevor, but there was no girls there, so we said we're not going there.
Bugger
so we
that,
ended up going
yep.
to Margaret Howder.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty funny story, I find it amusing. My dad took us shopping to buy the clothes for school. And
Yeah.
we used to wear shorts at Pirie. And they go, no shorts, not to wear shorts here. So we go, no worries. So he's decked us out in the same kit. So we rocked up at school first day, first time there, wearing exactly the same stuff, like two dorks.
Yeah.
Then everyone else was wearing shorts, so I wasn't happy about that. But we
You
ended up,
got caught out.
yeah, we ended up running the school within a couple of weeks.
Is that right? So what about your time at North? Work, obviously, they got your employment, because I think it was a couple of years before you actually played your first game with North Adelaide senior side.
So that would
have been a long process.
Yeah.
So lots of reserve games.
I didn't play many reserves. We pretty much went straight from 17s. Straight from 7. You're right. Straight from 17s into reserves, which is what they did back in those days. So I was 17 when I made my debut at Adelaide Oval against Westies.
Yeah.
So I kicked a goal in my first kick, so that was pretty exciting.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Played on Kieran Spawn, who I'm sure you'd remember.
No, Spawny very, very well.
Yes, and
very well.
I played with him at Westies as well, but he came back from Essendon after they I think, won the premiership.
Yeah, I reckon he. He went over in '89, so a year after yourself. A great bloke, Kieran Spawn, fantastic
he's
bloke.
great.
Work point of view, all good there. North Adelaide after a good job. You obviously enjoyed that.
North Adelaide, no, not so much work there.
Right.
North Melbourne, I don't know if you want to hear their story now.
Yeah.
All right, I haven't told many people this.
Right, good. First. This
yes,
is the first
not
time
this
before the
forum
bounce.
anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was meant to do graphic design here at uni, so no one in my family had ever been to uni before, so
Right.
Mum and Dad were pretty proud.
Yeah.
And I was pretty excited, so North Melbourne came and said, look, we can get you into uni in Melbourne. So parents went, all right, no worries, well, go.
Yeah.
So I rocked up at Melbourne Uni, gone Stephen Hamilton, North Melbourne, they're going, you're good on your stupid. And I'm going, what? You're going, no, yeah, where's all your drawings? And I'm going, what drawings? Well, no one's told me any of this. So I didn't get into uni, so obviously wasn't happy.
Right.
I went back to the club. You can imagine my parents were real pleased as well. Then they got me a job with Bob Ansett, who was obviously the owner.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Back in the day, and he had an advertising agency. So
Yeah.
got a job there, and basically, guess what I did all day?
Oh, you've been doing some sort of marketing and
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Just sat. I had my own office, and I just sat there.
You sat there, clocked in, clocked off, went training.
Doodly bop. That was a song I remember because I sung it that many
You
times.
did nothing.
Correct. So I told the coach, Himmelbush at the time, I said,
Yeah.
mate, I'm just rocking up there, I'm doing nothing. All the people there were hating me at the start because, I'm just a token job.
Yeah.
End up winning them over, but that's
Sure you would have.
that's not the point. So I told the coach, and then that was in '91. So they had a major client was Pyramid Building Society at the time. Don't you remember?
I do remember.
They collapsed.
Because I won the Herald Sun Award.
Yep.
There to ring up the football manager, say, look, there's 15 grand. I won it by one vote against Mullane.
Yep.
And rang up and said, oh look,
Can't pay it.
where's can you just find out how if I can get that check and all that sort of stuff. He rang me back and said, no money, Greg. There's no money. You'll be lucky to
surprise
get
me.
10 cents in the dollar.
Does not surprise
So
me. That was back in
that-
'91, so it was a pretty ordinary time. 16% interest rates and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that was nasty those days. But what about your first game? I mean, that was, must have been so special for you.
I felt like I could run the 100 in 2
Oh,
seconds.
I could imagine, yeah. So how did that come about? Thursday night, or did you know, perhaps earlier than that? Did they say, look, we're thinking going to play you this week?
I can't really remember that much about that. I remember obviously just running out in the ground. That's probably the only thing I
Yeah.
really remember about that game.
Yeah.
I played on Robert Harvey.
Oh, yeah, that's...
And Himmelbush had me running around in the back pocket on ball tagging, which I've never done in my life. I'm more of a half-forward flanker.
Yeah.
So I think he was trying to teach me more of a defensive side of my
Yeah.
game. Which I didn't appreciate.
Yeah, no,
obviously
they want to kick goals, yeah.
Yeah, you want to play footy, so I played there. But yeah, Harvey was my first bloke I played on.
Oh, no, yeah, that's a good scout to have, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I
Mate,
think
fantastic.
there's a photo up there was a photo up in the club rooms, because I back pocket running back in, big pluggers coming out. And I'm just doing that one.
Just doing that one,
Because
just, yeah.
69 kilos,
Nah,
I'm going to get smashed.
You're going to get hurt there. You're going to get
got
hurt.
enveloped by him.
But it's amazing. You just talk about some of the two of those players. They're both Hall of Famers.
Yeah, correct.
So you're out in the ground and you're playing with some of the great players against, which we just mentioned a couple, but also with.
Yep.
So you've played with some fantastic players at North Melbourne.
Yeah, well, Wayne Carey's obviously the standout.
Number one.
So again, as I said earlier, we played under 17s together, but we're best mates back then.
Yeah,
Lived
yeah.
together in Melbourne, so
Yeah.
I could tell you a lot of stories, but I won't in this forum either.
I don't think we're allowed to, are we? But a great bloke. I mean,
Oh, mate,
what a
superstar.
wonderful person. Yeah. And so what about some of the other players that Glennie Archer, of course?
No, I'd already left.
Oh,
so
right. Okay.
I'll tell you my leaving story, which is probably the best one. Fourth game,
Right.
I was told to get myself a job. So this is after, remember I said I got...
Yeah, you've been doing nothing for
Nothing,
all that
correct.
time and collecting
and
the pay.
Bob Ansett, they lost their business, he went bankrupt.
Oh, they did too. That's
So
right.
I lost my job,
Yeah.
and I was told to get myself a job. And I'm going, hang on, you meant to get me into uni,
Yeah.
then you get me a token job,
Yeah.
then I lose my job because this all fell over, and now I've got to get myself a job. I'm 18 years old in Melbourne, I don't know anyone.
Oh, wow.
And guess what happened? My fourth game, got 2 Brownlow votes, and then got dropped.
Fitzroy.
Correct.
Yes.
Got dropped.
How does that work? Did you? Look,
got stroppy, put it that way.
let's on the Brownlow night, and it come up that particular game. Did you think I'm going to get a couple of votes here? I'm around the mark.
I wasn't even watching it, so
You weren't even watching
I just
it?
got a phone call saying,
Yeah.
you got 2 votes. I went, oh.
That's good. Yeah, bloody
Then I
fantastic.
said, what game was it? And
Yeah.
they told me. I said, oh, that was a game I got dropped.
But did you kick a couple of goals that game, or were you tagging
Well,
again?
Yeah, so I kicked one against Collingwood at their home ground.
Yeah.
So that's the only goal I kicked, but that's,
Yeah.
again, I was mainly tagging. And
Money doing that sort of that negative sort of style of play. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you play with some fantastic players. But you come back, you play a few more years with the Roosters, and one of them obviously outstanding for yourself in the club.
I actually come back halfway through 91.
Really?
So that was a dummy spit. I said, F you, I'm going home, and jumped in my car halfway through the season.
Wow.
So that wouldn't happen today at all.
No.
But
And
that's how it went down.
There you are, running around the oval with the Premiership Cup, just loving life.
I'd rather North Melbourne premierships. I don't North Adelaide people. So.
Yeah. But obviously you just love your time at North Melbourne.
Of course. You know.
Snuck over to
We all love showing off. Let's be honest.
we love it. You snuck over to Westies for a while.
Yeah, so I had a run with Daryl Hart. I've been sacked by 2 coaches, so maybe it's me and not them. So yeah, look, Hardy's apologised since. He said it was one of the biggest mistakes he made, but he can ask you that question. But yeah, I went to Westies. Actually, I couldn't go to any club because they sacked me before I could go to another.
Is that right?
SANFL club.
Okay.
So I went back and played in Port Pirie for 5 or 6 games. We lost the premiership up there, which was disappointing, obviously. But yeah, then came back and played at Westies for 5 seasons.
Yeah, fantastic. Mate, thanks so much for sharing all your stories. I wasn't. But they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant, but your career also, but your career as well, fantastic, and to be able to obviously say that you played for North Melbourne, Premiership player for the Roosters and many games for Westies as well.
Yeah, it's all good.
Mate, that's exciting.
Yeah,
You've done really well, and thanks for joining me.
Another fantastic episode of Before the Bounce here from the Alma tonight, and it's been
a lot of fun. I love doing it live.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. But as you know, we need sponsors to get us on air, and we've got to thank them.
No, and they are. They've been fantastic. All of our sponsors for each segment tonight, and those as well. My Foot Doctor, the Prince Albert Hotel in Gawler, Metro Air Conditioning, Dave Benson Caravans, Battery World as well.
Modern Trailers.
Another fantastic one. MGA Insurance and Rewards International as well. It's getting to that time of year where clubs are looking to get their trophies and that organised. But there's going to be a lot more coming from us here at Before the Bounce over the year in Piranha Media. So make sure you're liking the page, jumping on Piranha Media, and there's going to be a lot more content coming up for you. So thank you for joining us again tonight, and we'll see you all next week.